We are going to be seeing the Prime Minister campaigning in Shillong today in support of the candidates of the BJP. Do remember that this is a very crucial election. Let's in fact quickly go across to Niranjan, who's reporting from Shillong. Niranjan, good morning. We can see a lot of people around you, preparations being made for this mega sort of a roadshow.
Well, that's correct. It's been a rather eventful sort of an election for the BJP here in Meghalaya. The state goes to polls on the 27th, Nupur, but coming back to Shillong, the Prime Minister's coming here. There's been a slight change of plan, so he goes to Nagaland and then he comes here to Shillong, where he will conduct a roadshow. We are at the heart of Shillong. This is the center point, so this is where the Prime Minister will be speaking, but it's also the rock capital of India. And you know, at every corner here in Shillong, in the 1.5 kilometer range, no election rally, Nupur, is complete without a rock band or a rock show. So here where I am, you will see that there is a setup here for a rock band to perform when the Prime Minister is here. And you know, the sound checks were on, but this is going to be one interesting roadshow for the Prime Minister, very different from what we've seen the Prime Minister do. And it's a roadshow which will run about 1 kilometer to 3 kilometers. That's okay, to 3 kilometers. And you know, when I was speaking to Aniruddha, our colleague here, he's right here. Let me try and talk to him. And Aniruddha was telling me that in Shillong, no political rally is complete without a rock show. In fact, he was telling me when he's been here for the last 2 days, so he's been following the developments, the political developments here. And he was at a rally yesterday, and he was telling me about how after every speech, there were different leaders up on stage, and after every speech, they would play a song on stage. So the sound checks were here. Aniruddha, it's a different rally. A very different roadshow compared to the other roadshows that we usually see the Prime Minister do. Why is this one different, and why is it special for the BJP, or why is it important?
Yes, Niranjan. In fact, when we see other roadshows across the country, it's basically the Prime Minister goes, waves at the people who stands on the road, and he addresses a rally. But here, like, it will be accompanied by music. All the top bands of Meghalaya will be performing here when the Prime Minister will be doing the roadshow. And as you can see, already, even though the Prime Minister will be coming here at around 12:30, 12:45, you can see people already thronging the center point area and in Police Bazaar. And we are expecting a very huge turnout. And in fact, BJP Meghalaya has been also telling us that a lot of people are going to come from each and every corner of Meghalaya in order to see the Prime Minister here in Shillong, the rock capital of India.
Yeah. And Nupur, what is also interesting in this particular election is that even though Conrad Sangma's NPP and the BJP have been allies, are in the government, so they are the alliance partners running the government here in Meghalaya, but in this particular election, both Conrad Sangma's MPP and the BJP are fighting separately in all 60 seats. And some very sort of acrimonious statements also being made by both these parties, because Conrad Sangma, he's clear he wants to fight alone. He's confident. By the way, he's only the third Chief Minister who has completed his term in Meghalaya since the formation of the state. So for him, he's pretty confident that he will cross the halfway mark. He has enough numbers or enough support to come back on his own. But what is also interesting is that the BJP is attacking Conrad Sangma. The BJP is attacking Conrad Sangma. They're saying there is a lot of corruption in the state. Imagine a situation where you have two partners, the NPP and the BJP, Conrad Sangma and the BJP. They're in alliance. BJP is a very small, constituent of this particular government. But for the BJP to attack Conrad Sangma, to call them corrupt, to say they're a nepotistic party, etc., and that they have failed. And imagine both of them are running the government. It's a unique situation, and this time it's even more, unique, because the Trinamool Congress, the Congress has disappeared. The Congress is metamorphosed into the Trinamool Congress here with Mukul Sangma in the fray. And you look at it, this election is between the NPP versus the BJP versus the UDP versus the TMC versus the Congress party. Pretty interesting election, isn't it?
Yes, Niranjan. In fact, if we see in Meghalaya this time, it's not a two-way or three-way contest, but it's an all-way contest. And very interestingly, as you were pointing out regarding the alliances, in Meghalaya, at least for the last 6 terms, there have been no clear mandate to any particular political party. It has been always hung house be it the election of 2008, be it the election of 2010, or the 16 or that one we had in 18. All this election, the mandate was a hung assembly, and thereafter someone emerged as a kingmaker. So this time also the smaller parties, that is the UDP, the PDP and other regional parties are keeping an eye to become a kingmaker again, so that they can decide, they can take a sword on who gets the clear majority out here. The Trinamool Congress is accusing the NPP of nepotism. In fact, Trinamool is being accused of making a proxy entry into the state of Meghalaya. On the other hand, the Congress party, which was once the single largest majority party here in the state of Meghalaya, this time has turned out to be a very, or you can say, has failed to make any clear impact as far as the electoral process is concerned. We are not seeing any major rally. In fact, Rahul Gandhi also came only for a single day here. That is day before yesterday, and Sachin Pilot came for a day. So it's a clear case, you can say, that the Congress leadership, the high command, is not interested, you can say, or they have given up as far as Meghalaya is concerned.
Some interesting statements that have been made, Nupur. And by the way, before I tell you what the different parties have been saying, just to give you a sense, this is where the bands will be performing in a short while from now. People have already started gathering here. You will see that most of them, a young crowd, students, gathering here, waiting for the Prime Minister to arrive, expected to arrive in maybe 1.5 hours. He goes to Nagaland first. He addresses a rally in Nagaland and then lands here. The estimated time here is about 11:45, 12 p.m., but that could change. There's a roadshow here, after which he goes to Tura, correct? There's a rally in Tura.
Yes, the first Prime Minister will be going to Dimapur, and from Dimapur he will be coming to here in Shillong, where he will be taking out, he will be first paying tributes to the freedom fighters at the State Central Library, and from State Central Library the Prime Minister will be doing a roadshow up to the Police Bazaar point, and here it is also expected that Prime Minister will be making a short speech addressing the people of Shillong, and thereafter he will be heading to Tura.
Niranjan.
This is the center of Shillong. This is called the center point where we are. Interestingly, yes.
Niranjan, what I wanted to ask you is, of course, for you, this will perhaps be the first time that you're attending a rock show in a rally. But apart from that, it's very interesting thing about Meghalaya is there's so many parties that are involved in this. As you yourself pointed out, the BJP, right as elections were announced, accused the NPP of corruption. But there are too many players in Meghalaya for any one party to be able to claim that they will form a government on its own, isn't it?
Absolutely. Nupur, before coming into Meghalaya and before the states of Meghalaya and Nagaland go to polls, we were talking to different pollsters just to get a sense of what is the mood on the ground and what's happened in Tripura, for example, right? It's clear. The sense is Tripura will vote one way or the other. There's likely to be a clear mandate in Tripura. In Nagaland, similarly, because the BJP is hopeful in Nagaland because they know that they have a strong alliance going there with Nephew Rio. So there is a possibility that they do well there when elections are held on the 27th. In Tripura, it's going to go one way. It's going to be a clear mandate. Either way, it's going to be a clear mandate, whoever comes to power. But in Meghalaya, everybody is predicting a hung house. They're predicting a hung house because you have so many players. And interestingly here, it's so desperate. Each of these parties are so desperate. Yesterday, in fact, when the Congress party held a rally, and the different leaders of the Congress in Nagaland and Meghalaya, the kind of speeches that they're making, they're invoking the church, saying the church has asked you to vote for the Congress party, so you have to vote for the Congress party. In fact, one leader who usually sits out of Delhi but who was a former MP and who's also handling the elections here for the Congress party in Nagaland and Meghalaya, he's invoked a Baptist Council church saying that the church has asked you to vote for the Congress party, so you please vote for us. So that's how desperate they are. But the three regions here, Garo, Jaintia, and all three different regions, there are different smaller parties that are stronger particularly. So it's going to be a very interesting battle. But all eyes, Nupur, before I hand back to you, Himanta Biswa Sarma, don't forget, Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Assam Chief Minister, is playing a key role in all the three elections this time, from Tripura to Meghalaya and also in Nagaland. And he may have a surprise in store. Don't be surprised if the BJP has a role to play in whichever government is formed here, because the UDP has taken a chunk of the MLAs from Conrad Sangma's party. The UDP is a very interesting player in this particular election. So all eyes on that one. And even the Trinamool Congress. Which way will Mukul Sangma go? Will he stick with the Trinamool Congress after the elections, or will he defect with his set of MLAs who joined and formed the Trinamool Congress here? That's a very interesting one.
Now, very quick question from Anirudh. Anirudh, you know, the NPP has been accused of nepotism. Now, the Sangmas, you know, that is Conrad Sangma and their relatives, are present in large numbers in the NPP. Now, that's a question that everybody wants to ask, that the nepotism of the NPP is something that they cannot deny at all.
Yes, Nupur, in fact, if we look at the election rally this time, then and the entire political scenario in Meghalaya, you will see that the NPP, the entire top leadership of the NPP is focused in Garo Hills area. The Garo Hills is known as the bastion of the PA Sangma. But the Sangmas are not at all confident as far as their bastion is concerned. They are quite panicked that this time there might be a change in the mandate from the public. And that is why, if we talk about, be it Chief Minister Conrad Sangma, be it James Sangma or Agatha, all are focusing mostly in the Garo Hills region and not in the other pockets. In other pockets, it's the other leaders of the NPP who are focusing. But yes, the family is mostly focused in Garo Hills this time. And that clearly indicates that the Sangmas are a bit panicked.
All right, stay